Hi there, and welcome to the Inquiry Project Instructions. This is going to be part one for Workplace Math 11. This is the part of the course that I hope is the most exciting for you. Prior to this, there has been, lots of chapters that you've had to, study, and lots of content that been forced to, look over. And this is a project that I'm forcing you to do, but it's on a topic that you get to choose. So when I say inquiry project, what I want you to think of is that this is a student-led deep dive research project. So student-led meaning you get to choose what you're going to be working on, what the content is going to be. So that's exciting. And you're going to go deep. You're going to jump into a topic that interests you, and you're going to do a bunch of research and data collection and be able to make this cool project for me to check over at the end. So the overview will be on the course page. You'll be able to check out the rubric for how it's going to be graded. And there's going to be two parts. So this is going to be submitted as a rough draft first that I'll be able to look at and provide feedback on. And once I've provided that feedback, then you'll submit your final submission, and that'll be what I mark for your inquiry project. So this inquiry project, basically, how it's going to start is it's going to start with a topic that interests you. So let's take Mr. Kuchma, for example, because, well, I'm right here. So things that interest me, mountain biking. I love mountain biking. Mountain biking has been just a part of my life ever since I was little. I received this amazing bike. It's called a Specialized Demo 8. If you are into mountain biking, you might know what that is. It's a really big, heavy bike for flying down mountains. And I've had it for, I think, 12 years. And I've ridden it every year without fail. I've replaced so many things on it now, but I've kept the same one that my dad got me all those years ago when I was much younger. And mountain biking has just always been something that I love doing. And there's actually I could think of lots of different ways that I could connect mountain biking to, and maybe you can too, because you've seen some of the chapter challenges of how mountain biking could connect to the math that we've learned in this course. I also love Star Wars. Star Wars, in my recollection, it was one of the first 5 movies I ever watched. I know that the first one I ever watched was Toy Story 2 in theaters. That's like dating myself, like way back when. That was one of the first ones. And then I know that I saw The Wizard of Oz. They did like a replaying of it at a theater. But right in there, when I was young, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, got released, and it was a big hit. So, I mean, since then, I've watched all the Star Wars, and I'm a little bit of a nerd that way. Even right now, right now is December 17th, 2019. So I have tickets for opening night in 3 days on Friday, the 20th, to go and see the last installment, Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. So that's exciting. I've got, like I said, I've got opening day tickets. Me and my wife and lots of my friends are going to go see it all together. I love traveling. That's another topic. I've traveled far and wide, but I also like traveling close. So I live in Kelowna, BC. I love traveling all around to the Kootenays and up north, and we drive down to the States, to the island. But then internationally, we've traveled to Europe. We've been there. We've been to Mexico, Hawaii. I just love traveling. I love seeing new things. Love trying new foods, meeting new people. That's awesome. I'm a nerd when it comes to like, so I've already talked about Star Wars, but like I'm a Lord of the Rings fan. Books first, and then movies. So the books hold a closer space in my heart because how many times I've read them. But the movies are so epic, and unfortunately, I just leave some of the stuff out that I that's why I like the books better. But I'm super nerdy into it, and I just love it. I live, breathe that. And then Nintendo, like I have every Nintendo system that's ever been created. So just thinking off the top of my head, I could probably connect, a project on Lord of the Rings somehow, or to travel to Mexico, or, like Star Wars ships, to some sort of project that I could work on in this course, if I were you. Once you have a topic, though, then we need to move forward and create a question that we're going to answer, or a problem. It really depends on how your project's going to take shape. And if you want help with this, I'm totally available on Skype, and I would love to sort of talk you through this process. But maybe you want to ask a very specific question about something. Like what is the best mountain biking front fork, and how much air pressure should you have in your mountain biking tire? Or if I'm talking about Nintendo, my favorite game is Smash Bros. Who is the best character in Smash Bros? Is it Samus? That's my favorite. Probably not. But that question or problem is going to be the basis for what you do next. So let's jump into the actual project itself and what it's going to look like. So it's going to be 3 parts. You're going to have an introduction, sort of this main body, and a conclusion. Just in the main body, I'm going to subdivide it into some of your methods, your data, and your results or findings, depending on what your project looks like. So if we start with the introduction, though, this is where you're going to state your topic, state your question or your problem that you're looking into, provide a hypothesis, and then do some background info. Bring me into your world. If I'm talking about mountain biking and I start launching into, all these gnarly terms, you're probably not going to really understand what I'm talking about. So give me some background information for your topic of interest. And then you might have to do some research already right in the introduction. But then in the main body, there's 2 very specific types of research I want you to do. On the one hand, I want you to do online research. I want you to find some stuff that people have already done. What studies, what have people already researched into this topic? But then I don't want you to stop there. You have to do something unique yourself. You have to, provide some data and do some collections. So, if I am looking at mountain biking, I'm gonna have to grab my mountain bike. I'm gonna have to go out there and I'm gonna have to do some data collections. Maybe I, do my favorite trail here is at Knox Mountain. So maybe I go and I do the top to bottom of Knox Mountain with a certain pressure of air in my tires. And then I do it again with a different set. And maybe I try one bike that has, 9 inches of travel, and then I do another one that has 6 inches of travel. And I compare my speeds, over 5 different trials. Or, if I'm doing, Smash Bro characters, I'll see what other people have, researched, and then I'll go out and I'll see how good I do with these characters. But part of this is that I definitely need you to go online, find some stuff, present your sources. I'll talk about that at the end. And then also you need to do something yourself. And I'm excited for that because I think you're going to enjoy, doing some of that research and doing some of that data collection. You're also going to want to tell me your methods. So how did you collect this data? You can, I did some online research, but then I also did this. You're going to want a full method section of how you actually got your data. And then I'm going to want to see your data. So maybe it's in a table. Maybe you have like pictures, and then you're going to have to sort of have a results or findings section. So, what did you find? I don't want you to like analyze that. That's for the conclusion. But in the findings, I do want, or, the results, I do want to see, maybe some graphs or a chart or again, some pictures just to show me, some visual content for what you ended up doing. And then we get to the end, the conclusion. So now you get to analyze what happened in your main body. You get to talk about, your your hypothesis. Maybe you proved it right, maybe you proved it wrong. If it failed, that's okay. Talk about what was the struggle, talk about what went really well, find out if there's any errors or any bias in your project, and talk about what you learned. What have you learned from this project that now you can bring forward? And at the very, very, very end of the project, there's also going to be a work cited. This is a math course. This isn't like a science or English. So I'm not going to get you to cite it in MLA format or APA format, but I do want to see that you've provided me with all the different places that you did get research from. That's going to be important. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch. I'm going to screen share, and then I'm going to show you the rubrics and how you're actually going to get graded on this. All right.